I'm Krista Stylista. I am doing this collaboration with my dear friend, Peopling with Dree. So excited to be here with you. Finally, we've talked about this forever.
Forever, like years. And here we is. I am on my third lock starts. I'm pretty sure there's some fancy term, and we'll get into why I don't know the terms in a second. So I want to thank you for saying, hey, let's put a date to this collab. I am about adventure, living life. I have my skydiving video, my whitewater rafting video. I try to give a little, I do some reels, but I try to give like the full experience of getting up early, having to go to these adventures, and you like have adrenaline punch going. My most watched video is me riding a mechanical bull. I don't know why that is like 1,000 views out there, but hey, you love it, please like it. I'm also a prepper, so my prepper series, prepping for natural disasters, etc. That content it will be coming out more this year. I'm an admin in a prepper group, so people are like, I need more info. So what the people want, the people will get. How long have you had your sister lives?
I am 4 years into my sister lock journey. I was relaxed and then, of course, press and curl before that. But when I moved from Arkansas to Texas, I got my hair braided, let it grow out for a year and a half, and then decided I want to wear a natural style. And I figured for my coarse textured hair, it was either going to be very short or it was going to be locked. So I started doing my research and landed on Sister Locks.
I started locking originally 2004, 2005 in Arkansas, in Little Rock, West Side, Arkansas. And that time, the natural hair movement was nowhere near what it is now. So big shop, remembering your like anniversary. Like I'm pretty sure that there are people who did that, but it wasn't just for me part of my process. My scalp was like ruined with getting relaxers. And in the 90s, I had all of the interesting hairstyles. I had the French roll with the crimps. I had the side twist. They went into a cursive. We had those initial rings. I had that same A that was in my initial ring in my hair with some crimps in it with like a swoop bang with a crimp in it. Like I was mad extra. But in order to have those styles, and it was my own hair. I didn't have any like weave extensions or anything like that. But in order for you to have those styles, you had to get a relaxer. And my scalp was just being burnt up. And my dermatologist was like, Aces, like real talk, you need to stop getting relaxers. So I was like, hey, I don't know what that looks like. So I tried to press, it didn't curl. I have 5G hair. Like, they have the like 1 through 4 and what is it? A through C. Like when God said let there be, my hair was being formed. That is the coarseness of my hair, 5G. So trying to get it pressed and having coarse hair, it was just like I can't do this anymore. And then products weren't a thing. I don't know if y'all remember the Dark and Lovely Mist or whatever. It came in like a brown bottle. It's so long ago. Probably don't even remember it. That was probably like the only natural product. They didn't even have like the Pantene natural
Mm.
hair back then. So it was like trying to find products, trying to find information. I'm about to age myself. YouTube wasn't really a thing back then. Instagram, Facebook, maybe, and even with MySpace, I think there was probably like the MySpace Black Planet type time. Like it just wasn't a lot of hair care information. You may have seen people with locks, but the hair care wasn't out there. So I did 2 strand twists and braids, but trying to find a braider and someone to do my 2 strand twists. I did look into sister locks. At that time, it was Atlanta, New York, maybe California that I could go get my sister locks done. For a college student, the price of everything was just like I gotta fly to this place. So it would have been Atlanta because I had a cousin in Atlanta, but I had to get to Atlanta. I think I had like an 83 swoopty. But I was like, logistically, it was just hard to get that. I wanted like to harp on that part. So I got locks. It was probably shorter than my hair is now. I did not know, like, how people, you had your ugly stage. I didn't even know I had an ugly stage. Now I wasn't happy with the length of my hair, but I didn't even know it was an ugly stage. My boyfriend was like not happy because I had long straight hair with a relaxer one because I met him when I was 14. We started dating a little later on. And then I went to natural hair. Then I got some locks. He was like, ma'am, this ain't this. And I'm like, all right. I pledged around this time. I pledged now, like it's like I'm a neo. So it was like a lot of people that had comments about my hair. The only people who really had locks were men. And then I moved to Texas. I found an amazing loctician. Shout out to Paulette at Lockstar in Fort Worth. I was one of her like earlier clients. She's doing some amazing things in her two shops. I think she has two or three shops now and in the community. So I want to definitely shout out, I think it's DFW Lockstar, Lockstar DFW on Instagram. She was with my health, she was with my style, she was with my color. Book an appointment, pay whatever she wasn't expensive, but pay whatever she said and kept it moving. And my hair grew. It was maintained, amazing customer service. And I say that to say because I had a few other locticians that I was just like, yeah, either my health wasn't that great or they couldn't get my color right, etc. So then I moved back to Arkansas. It was very challenging to find a loctician. I'm not trying to like monopolize the time. I don't know how much people want to know about my life journey. It's probably the only video where I talked
I
about
mean,
it.
I've told my lock story, so I think it's time to share more content from other people's perspective on
Got
my.
you, got you.
So yeah, that's why I'm like, okay,
And
girl,
my
take.
people hadn't heard my lock story.
Okay, good.
So I was trying to find a loctician, and people just want to like put any and everything in your hair.
Mhm.
I get it's trial and error, but my hair does not like straight coconut or oil. My hair does not like straight shea butter oil. Like you got to mix some stuff in to make it work. The person who started my locks, when she rest in peace, but she started my locks, it was healthy. She had passed away, unfortunately, by the time I moved back to Little Rock. And I remember one stylist who, everybody said they can do locks. They have these pictures, but you can't see the inside of people's locks. You can't see the product build up or whatever. So I went to her to get my hair colored and to get my locks done. The color would not take. She was getting like box color from like the regular hair store, like not the kind that you put the developer in or anything like that. She was well, unless she put some developer in, it wasn't working. And the color didn't come out. So she's like, you don't have to come back. I was like, okay, cool, I'll come back. She's like, I'm not gonna charge you for the color, just come back. I was like, okay, cool. She's like, but if I twist your hair, you're gonna have to pay now to get it twisted and when you come back to get it twisted. And I was like, okay, well just leave it untwisted. She took her towel off and sent me out of her shop with my hair dripping.
Wow.
I was like, so which I should have known something because the shop wasn't very professional anyway. But I was just like, I don't get attacked. Like, you ain't gonna drop. She's like,
Yeah.
well, you don't want to twist it. I'm like, yeah, but it's like it's not like okay, you had lights. It's a little damp. You go
Yeah.
out in the
You gonna let
summertime.
me go out like this?
Say less. Say
Yeah.
freaking less.
Yeah.
She is still a hairstylist. I'm hoping that she has gotten better. I don't wish nothing negative on her. But sis, if you see this, I'm not gonna call your name, but you know who you is. I had another stylist who was inconsistent with her scheduling. I was unemployed, but I need to get married for my interview. And I told her this. So I'm in her shop waiting, and she's like, so I'm like texting, like, hey, it's like 30, 45 minutes. I'm like, hey, everything cool. She's like, I'm so sorry. I'm in traffic. Oh, not tripping. Life happens. If you ever know me in person, I'm a really laid back person. Another like 30 minutes ago, I'm like, hey, since you're still in traffic, because Little Rock to Little Rock ain't in my mind. Little Rock to Little Rock ain't that far. She was like, yeah, I'm still in traffic. And I was like, hey, sis, I got this interview tomorrow. Are you still gonna be able to do it? And she was like, I'm just gonna not be able to do it today.
Oh, after an
I
hour.
waited. No, no, no. At this point, it was like 2 hours, 2.5 hours.
Okay, continue.
And I work in like an office. I work like in an office setting. And when I tell you my hair looks a cold mess, it was not even a hot mess no more. It was cold. That's how I needed something done. And I did a post. I didn't put her name in. I was just like, hey, you all, like I get people have like things happen, but if you are a business owner, like you need to communicate. And so she got mad and was like, under my post, I very rarely call people out of my post. I call out the behavior.
Mhm.
So I went to her post. I just did and I very rarely write bad reviews. Speaking of which, I need to write a bad review on somebody. But okay, you guys to get it. And I tell people that you want that. Like, at this point, because I was just like, hey, if you a business owner, like communicate with your clients and call her out, nothing. So if you see this too, your name is an animal and you a stylist in Little Rock, I'm talking to you. So I was like, okay, look, my hair is unhealthy. Like it was unhealthy. It wasn't just it needs to be done. It was unhealthy because I was trying to find the stylists. They was just putting any and everything in my hair. And I was like, forget this. I am going back to Texas. I'm gonna try to get with Paulette. I was gonna like try to find her availability and then reach out to her like, hey, I got an appointment on this day. I'm gonna drive up because it was like 5 hours from Little Rock. The whole Panasonic happened.
The whole Panasonic,
The whole
the
Panasonic.
pretty
Well,
bread.
it wasn't the whole Panasonic. It was like it started. The Panasonic started. So they were like closing down stuff, like literally the day before, like the day of me getting ready to like get. I was like, so I was scrolling trying to find like book it, and it was like, so long as I closed it, okay, well it's Texas because again we didn't really know what it was. I don't think the fear and concern had started at this point. I was like, it's Texas, it's Texas. They ain't closing nothing down, and they were like, the hair.
They did and did.
I had a podcast, business and bullshit. We were
Yeah,
virtual. And
loved
I
it.
was just like, I'm supposed to get in front of these people with my hair. And I don't think you can really tell in hindsight. I don't think you could tell on the video, right? I don't think you could even like tell. But in
No,
my mind, y'all could see the locks like build up and whatever.
I know.
And we don't have the podcast anymore, but I do encourage you to go to Business and Bullshit. Check it out, especially the videos because I have some interesting facial expressions on there. So I was just like, forget this. I can't do this anymore. And homegirl, who's a stylist up here in Maryland, I wasn't living in Maryland, but I knew her. She was like, girl, just cut it. It's like, you want me to cut my hair? I've been like for like, I think 16 years, almost 16 years at this point, or 16 years. And I cut it. So me cutting my hair was like, am I gonna be able to maintenance it? How am I gonna look? The vanity of it, the self-esteem of it. It's like, how is that gonna happen? I called my best friend, CC Mercer Watson, because she got married. I was like, can you just stay on the phone with me, please? Like while I do this. And she sat on the phone with me and I got it cut out. Like I cut it, we cut one by one. It wasn't like chunks because it was just like, and she was very supportive. And I laid my locks actually on the table that this is on. And I just took a picture because there were people who didn't had never seen me without locks before. So
Mhm.
I just
I hadn't seen you
post
without like,
right.
no. When I
You
met you, you had
know,
like,
I did. Wow, and I've been knowing you for just
I know.
girl,
And
you
you
getting
had
old.
long locks then.
You getting old.
I am still useful. Thank you very much.
You're getting girl, you getting up
Yeah,
there.
I am
You
still
look
useful.
good, girl.
You know what? I'm not
Um,
aging by myself though. So there's
you
that.
say what?
Not aging by myself.
It's like levels to it. So like
No, no,
while
no,
you're
no, no,
getting here, I'm coming up, but it's
no, no, no.
still like
You need to close that gap. Close that gap. All right.
we both are aging gracefully. Because
All right, girl.
I'm cute and you beautiful girl.
Oh,
So and
mhm.
anybody who say we ain't, so what?
What are they talking about? What do they know? Nothing.
And I have a Facebook presence. Like I'm not saying like I'm popular or whatever, but I like know people through Facebook. I connect through Facebook primarily. And I just laid my locks out. I took a picture and I went to sleep. It's like 2 o'clock in the morning. I just went to sleep. Like, y'all, I did this thing. Like I
Mm.
didn't think. So when I woke up, I had like 100 reactions. I had like 20, 30 comments. No, I don't even know 100 people, like, and let me see it. Like, what are you doing? Is everything okay? Well, nobody ever asked me okay, but I said, what's going on? And I was just like, oh, yes, right. I cut my hair. So I think this is kind of like where the spiritual piece, and the spiritual piece was not what I thought it would be. I'm thinking like some ancestors was gonna pop up. Like in Black Panther, when you go to the ancestral plane, when you go to the ethers, I thought it
That
was
was
gonna be
what
something
happened.
like that. Huh?
You cut your locks, you were gonna go to the ancestral plane.
Yes, I really thought it was gonna be that on that level. Okay, you know what you laughing at me, and I was sincere. I am being vulnerable right now.
Okay, I'm come back. Okay, I'm sorry. Go ahead, girl. So you thought you were gonna cut your locks and you were gonna go to an ancestral plane and
I
they will
did.
have to say they're
And
gonna
it
have to
was
say.
it was gonna be some type of cryptic message that was gonna tell me what the next journey of my life was gonna be like, and it wasn't that. It's a little disappointed, but oh my bad, we're doing a collab. So your people don't even know my people. Your friends don't know my people. So okay, I'm so friends, this is me. So if you like if you see my stuff. So I was like, okay, it's not what I thought it was gonna be. And then the hair store was still open, so I had to find a comb. Do you not know how challenging it is to go to a hair store and you got like 30 combs, literally 30 combs, 20 brushes. I knew what type of shampoo I was gonna and conditioner I was gonna use, but I'm just like, so you know, I phoned a friend. I
Or
use a
like,
lifeline.
oh, does one with Afro textured hair use at this point? Is that
No,
the
nobody was available. What the hell is Panasonic? Are you at work? Like, why is the people that I'm calling like not available for me? Like, you should not have a life outside of Dree. I got one of those little variety packs.
of combs? The little
Yeah,
thing.
because I mean,
I mean, were you in the ethnic hair care section? I mean, where
so
were
it was my
you?
favorite hair store in Little Rock, Arkansas, Supreme Beauty, that is in the El Hoot,
Supreme.
off Colonel Glenn and Asher,
Okay.
where
You
the
love them
Kroger's.
more than Peacock? You trying to say you love them more than Peacock?
I actually do. So I go to Peacock to get some hosiery, some accessories. You know, like if I need a tiara or
Yeah, I understand. Back to your story. I
sorry,
just
we talking.
we got off topic.
And so I'm like, I'm just gonna get a variety pack because ain't nobody answering. So I told y'all I cut my hair and ain't nobody there supporting me. So we're gonna talk about how we don't support each other
Nobody
tangibly.
noticed or acknowledged that your hair had changed and acknowledged your beauty at this state in your
No,
life. And
I
you're
didn't post any pictures. I just need y'all to answer the phone so I can pick out a comb because I was stressed and I
okay.
don't get stressed easily. So I'm like, okay,
Okay.
get the variety pack, get home, wash my hair. Now, mind you, keep in mind at the beginning of this story of my narrative, I have 5G hair. I don't even know how to comb my hair out. Like I had seen some YouTubers talk about sectioning and parting. So I have like my hair is probably like maybe you'll see the pictures if you, but it's thick. And it's 5G. So I'm like, okay, I don't know if I need to do a twist out, if I need to do the little brush thingy. Is it too long for like it was a whole like I decided to do a twist out and I wanted a couple people to see my hair before I showed the world. Again, I'm looking for my ancestral plane that didn't happen. So I wanted my mom to see it. I wanted my Aunt Marie, Miss Rest in Peace, to see it. And that was pretty much it. So they saw it. They loved my hair. And then I took a picture. I had like a little lipstick or whatever on. Everybody loved. And no, so I'm giving people updates what's going on. Like I can't and then now everybody want to come. I'm like, oh, you should get this type of comb. I'm already about the variety pack.
Yeah, I remember the picture, the reveal.
The final. And I was like, I look like Frederick Douglass. Hold on, y'all. Because it was like people were inboxing me like, I need to see your hair. And I'm like, I want Frederick Douglass. Okay, give me a second. Like
You
no one
did.
could see me on the other side of the phone trying to figure out because it's new. I've been locked for 6. I'm like, I look like Frederick Douglass. And
I
everybody
remember.
was like laughing, which okay, in the hindsight is funny, but when you trying to figure it out and you telling people you look like Frederick Douglass and they're laughing, you're like,
I mean, I understand.
everything.
Let me pause for one moment and
Yeah,
tell you
okay.
while I was in the midst of this transitioning from relaxed to natural hair, I was getting braids. One time, one time, I don't know who the hell I thought I was this day. Took those braids out, the old braids out, washed my hair, did not detangle, did not detangle. And then, got out of the shower and then tried to comb through my 4G. Girl, I was in crisis. It was like 4 or 5 in the morning. I called my sisters and my younger sister, God rest her soul, she was like, "Oh my gosh, what are you gonna do? Do this, try this." Da, da, da. That middle sister was like, "I guess you won't do that no more."
It's always that freaking middle child.
They hard. They hard. They hard. And so I remember sitting in the chair when I got to the braid shop. Girl, it was traumatic. It took me back to 5 years old. I'm breaking, and I'm like, my fault. I didn't know I hadn't gotten used to the natural hair routine. And I was still treating my hair like it was relaxed. Them ends was
Oh,
relaxed. This right here, no ma'am. Okay, I'm sorry. I just my trauma came up when you were talking. We back now.
When
Okay.
you spoke of your trauma, I was like, my trauma like resurfaced from Easter getting pressed
Oh.
kinky hair to the braid when it's crunchy. Because my hair, if I don't use the right products, my hair gets crunchy.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't think I really ever realized that until I cut my locks out. So when I would hear content creators talk about crunchy hair, I'm like, oh, what that's like. Oh baby, when I cut my hair and it was dry, it was like brittle.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, so that was like again, like, because like I don't think a lot of people really talk about. It's kind of like, oh, I had a bad moment, and now I'm gorgeous. It's like, nah, it was just, yeah, it was an experience. And so I was, doing a two and twist. I decided to like go to a barber and like when things start opening up, go to a barber, get like I guess a shape up. I guess it's supposed to. I still don't know what it's called. Like I understand we have like masculine type hairstyles.
Mm-hmm.
In our society, we have things that are perceived as masculine, things that are perceived as feminine, and we have a community that is like, okay, there isn't things aside to that. But I think the overwhelming majority, and I'm not trying to be dismissive of anybody's thought process, but we have styles that are perceived as masculine, and there's times where I'm like, I don't want my hair a certain type of way because I will be perceived as a masculine woman,
Right. And
right?
we've talked about that before,
Right.
right? About, I think I mentioned that I saw a lot of creators who were at the beginning of their lock journeys who would add lashes or add statement earrings or change their makeup. And we talked about that balance between what maybe some people perceive as masculine and the feminine and how that impacts us. You know
Right.
what I mean?
Right,
And
wrong, indifferent. Like how do we feel about our image being perceived a certain way? So
right.
again, that's still part of the journey, unless it doesn't like bother you or you don't think about it. But for me, that has been part of my journey. Like I want to make sure that I'm more feminine presenting versus masculine presenting, even though I don't knock anyone else's decision. Right.
What does that mean for you though? What does that mean? How do you, as a natural person with natural locked hair, what do you do to be more feminine presenting?
Definitely makeup and earrings.
Okay.
I typically keep my nails done. And again, like as I'm examining cultural norms, cultural um, majority things, identity, um, unpacking that. And even if I unpack it and I get back to how it was packed before, okay, but unpacking it to see like, do I look the way I want to look for me, or do I
Uh,
want to look? Am I looking a certain type of way for outward gaze, for lack of a
okay.
better example?
Yeah,
And I think that to a certain degree, some of that intertwines, right?
I agree. Yeah,
To a certain degree. I think for some
as
people,
Southerners, as Southern Black folks, I think
I agree.
we have been conditioned that this is what a pretty Black woman look like.
Right. Even now that I live in Maryland, I think that it's here too.
Mm-hmm.
I think that both of those images are the same. I think there's a beauty standard. There is a beauty standard for a Black woman.
Mm-hmm.
I
You got
think that there is
straight
a open.
hair or
No,
what?
I
What is
think
it?
I think we've transition to this is what a natural hair person, Black woman should look like, and this is what a straight
Oh,
hair woman.
gotcha.
This is what a woman with locks, whether it's sister locks, micro locks, free flowing locks. This is what if you're in this category, this is what you should look like.
Right.
If you're in this category, this is what you should look like. Even if people are trying to go against the grain, that's still the standard that they're trying to get away from. You follow me? I think that it is a conversation,
Okay.
right? I don't necessarily even know if there's a right or wrong, as long as you're being respectful to other people's decisions and how they want to, view themselves. I
Right.
don't think that there's necessarily a right or wrong.
I like
Um,
that you mentioned unpacking, basically looking at it and maybe packing a little bit more back in there. You might like, oh, I needed that. Oh, my makeup. Oh, my nails. Oh, yes. Oh, that you put that back. And I think all of us have to acknowledge that, like, even though we recognize we're becoming as we become more mature, more comfortable in who we are. You know what I mean? and how we want to present to the world is as a Black woman.
Yes,
And
specifically.
for us, that means at this phase in our lives, that means natural hair. But there are also things that we do as professionals, as women, that we want people to still see us as feminine. You know what I
Yes.
mean? As a
Yes.
lady.
And also too, unpacking my personality, right? I'm a bubbly person. I don't know if this is ingrained in my personality or I've been trained. I work in compliance, equity, strategic planning type deals. And that's how I think in any capacity, right? We're planning a trip. Okay, strategic plan. Even though it may not be the chart, it may not be a chart, it may not be smart goals, it may not, that's just how I think. And other people like you, so you're more reserved than I am. That's when before we started recording, I was like, oh wait, I'm giving your 7 a.m. energy, and I'm not there till like 11 or 12. I was like, wait, we're collaborating and you present way differently than me. And we were like, we're gonna do it. Like, look at what you're wearing versus what I'm wearing. There's nothing wrong with it. But I had to sit with myself to be okay with myself. Number like and in that sitting with self work, self exploration, my hair was part of it. And I remember, I don't want to tell your story for you. I don't even know if you want to share the story, but like when we had the conversation about how you were thinking about your hair and being a professional, I didn't
Mm-hmm.
have that because I started in college.
Yeah.
So I was a hustler in my mind. And I didn't even want to say being naive, maybe being naive, but I was a hustler. So I was gonna make my money legally and by any means necessary, right? Go in there legally.
Yeah.
Outside of maybe some tax stuff, paying taxes like outside that, but legally. And when you shared your story with me about like, oh, how are you gonna be perceived in a professional sphere? I was like, I ever about that. You
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, for me, I guess I think I shared, if I can reference this conversation correctly,
know.
that I'd gotten to a place in my career where I wanted to show up in every aspect of my professional life as a Black woman, undeniably.
Mm.
And you said, that is something that you had never thought about because your lock journey started much earlier than mine. And I have to say, when I started professionally, the culture at the universities that I've worked with have been very much, and I don't want to insult people who have been kind to me, but let me see if I can find the words. Assimilation was
Mm.
important. Proximity to power dynamics was important. It was almost as if you had a pageantry about yourself and the way you dress and the way you carry yourself. I wore heels to work. Girl, why do I even have? I got heels, but it was a
Oh yeah,
different
you do
time.
have heels.
I got them shoes. Um, so yeah, it was different. And as someone who I feel like who's been in the trenches, who's done the work, I feel like if I wanted to, I could come to work in this cat suit I'm wearing right now. I could. Yeah, it's handsome, girl. I know you would say, oh, yeah, yeah, yeah. Well, can't show you though. Can't show you all the stuff now. It's PG. I don't want to talk about it. Okay. But yeah, I made a conscious decision that I was going to present this world with the hair that in the state that it came out of my head. You know what I mean? Everybody manipulates their hair like locks or, you braid or whatever. The relaxer thing had to quit for me at this point in my life. I think that was a part of the conversation. And I understand that that might make people perceive me differently. Of course, all of us being Americans, our genealogy has some twists and turns and different cultures in it. We all know that. But showing up as a Black woman at this age, at this big age, in my role in higher education, is a very high priority to me. And one of the things I've seen in conversation when people talk about locks, like, our locks professional, our sister locks more professional. I don't even want to get into that with people because I don't want
Mm-hmm.
to get into texturism. But I think women in particular, you don't need to find ways to divide yourself and make yourself different from other Black women. What are you doing? You
We
know?
have it hard enough.
Yeah, we have it hard enough. And so you want to divide yourself and think you better because of the locks you told? Girl, shut up and sit down. You know,
Oh,
I
can I
think,
interject? Oh, I'm
yes, girl.
sorry.
And let me take a drink while
So
you do.
I don't think I'm better than I did. I'm gonna own myself. I did think I was better than people who started their lives with extensions. Did think
Girl,
that because it's just a different process, you
right.
know. And so you didn't put in a label, you didn't put in the I'm not gonna lie, I was that person
Okay.
owning it transparent. Now I'm like, I don't care because when I got this my third set in, I was strongly considering installations because I don't like myself with short hair. I didn't gain some weight back, you know. I don't even when I was a little smaller, a lot smaller. I don't like myself with short hair. And I was gonna get installation, and my opinion didn't change because I want to do something different. Like this, my opinion changed like years ago. What I will say is, I'm cool if you want to get installations. It's so that's that you have your own journey is different than if you start fresh. Just don't try to compare your journey to someone else's. That's
Right.
all I ask. Like, don't come to me and yes, sis, I don't even care. Like, they ask questions about, like, oh, your hair is pretty. Do you have like surface questions? I'm not even really trying to get into the labor of your journey unless it's something you want to share with me.
Right.
This is not type of conversation to have. But like when people are in these groups trying to compare, and I'm like, do you, but just don't compare. I don't know what you went through with your installs because installs ain't cheap, boo. This is
No,
why we started from the bottom, and then whenever you gonna see me be there. I ain't there yet.